On Overdrive this week, Shumi takes the Jeep Wrangler on one of the toughest off-road trails in the US. We find out if a diesel makes the Mercedes B-Class a better proposition for you. Auto Selector with Bert and all the happenings in the automotive world this week. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shureen Bhan. A few months back, Bert decided to fly down to the US to get a taste of the luxury-laden Jeep Grand Cherokee. While he was there, he also got behind the wheels of the Grand Cherokee SRT and, of course, the sports variant. That left Team Overdrive asking for more, so we decided to send Shumi down to the US to sample the Wrangler, Jeep's thoroughbred off-roader on perhaps one of the toughest terrains that Shumi has ever driven on. Take a look at all the action.
There are lots of places in the world you can go off-roading, but one of the names that stands out is here in the United States, the Rubicon Trail. If you're anywhere close to being a serious hardcore off-roader, you know the Rubicon Trail already. This is the Wrangler Rubicon, and today we are on the Rubicon Trail testing out what the new car feels like. The car is coming to India in the last quarter of this year, and let's see what it holds in store for us.
The Rubicon Trail, about 5 hours north of San Francisco, is a really old path that has been in use first by the Indians, then it was a county road in the 30s, and now is a landmark when it comes to off-road trails. The challenge is the extremely rocky ground it meanders through over its 18-mile or 29-kilometer length. And just like Porsche likes to test at Nürburgring, off-roadability in the Wrangler is developed and proven here at the Rubicon. The Wrangler doesn't disappoint either, crawling sure-footedly and with little apparent effort over terrain that photographers found it hard to walk through. You did, as a driver, have to learn though that the rock bars and the skid plates, which are urban accessories, would be put to use, and that metal on rock was a sound we would have to repeatedly listen to, get used to expect, and to treat it as a matter of course, just like the Wranglers did. An hour of the trail showed clearly how at home the Wrangler is on this incredibly hard terrain and why it is just such a distinctive off-road automotive icon.
If you look at the Wrangler, it's a very, very distinctive shape, and I'll tell you this. If I'm standing on the side of the car for a particular reason, and if you look behind me, the body panels have absolutely no sculpting, no definition, no design on it. And what it basically says to me is this is built to a purpose, and we've been watching this purpose all morning, and we're going to continue to watch it through the rest of the day. It's a very simple looking vehicle. It's a very, very specific kind of vehicle, and it's a shape that a lot of other off-roaders have at some point or the other tried to ape, copy or imitate in some form or the other. But I can tell you this, on the trail we went pretty close to obstacles on the sides, and because the body is flat-sided, and that's why it's flat-sided, you tend not to touch anything unexpectedly. It's just brilliant on the trail. Part of it is the design.
The utilitarian exterior design carries on inside the car as well. The cabin and appointments are well made, but the eye is clearly on your being able to use the space and features easily. It isn't outright luxurious, but the cabin is unfailingly honest, extremely easy to live with, and when the rocks underneath are jostling you about, in a strange way it feels as correct for the Wrangler as the exterior. To live with every day, I'd say the cabin is comfy but not extraordinarily spacious, but this won't bug you too much.
Driving SUVs over the last few years, you get used to the idea of there being a diesel engine under the hood, but this Wrangler doesn't have one. It's got a petrol engine. And it's kind of strange because when you start driving, your first thing is, are you going to miss all that torque that diesels are famous for, which is going to sort of get you clambering through the trail? And to be honest, I haven't missed it. We've been in 4-low for the last few kilometers, and you really don't have to put much gas. You expect that you're going to have to rev up the petrol, but you don't really have to. It just clambers over on top. But that having been said, it just occurred to me that the last time I drove a petrol engined off-roader was a Maruti Suzuki Gypsy. Oh my god, this trail is exhausting to drive. We're like 5 kp at end. So we're about 6 kilometers into the Rubicon Trail. There's still a lot of ground to cover before we get to our camp. And they're telling us that this was the easy part of the trail. But honestly, if you're not a hardcore off-road nut who's out every weekend trying to push your luck, that's already pretty difficult. And they're telling us that what lies ahead is seriously crazy. But I have to say that the car is really impressive on this kind of terrain. It just doesn't seem to take any notice of what's going on, and now and then you'll hear noises of the frame grinding out or maybe the transmission case grinding out, and it doesn't seem to affect it in the least. I mean, it just goes through the whole thing. I'm very, very impressed.
The trail guides responded to our worried faces by explaining that these top Wrangler models come with full skid plates and were meant to do this. So a clang here and a grounge there was not at all unusual. In India, the exact model selection is still to be revealed, but the top models will definitely be there. The questions are few, including which engine will come, this 3.6-litre V6 or the smaller 4-cylinder, but in all cases, what we will be able to buy is an iconic shape, a lot of off-road ability, and all the hardcore outdoorsy image you'd ever want. The ability to back up the promise will be there, but unfortunately, you and I both know that most of the ability will be used in the social playground rather than off-road.
So what is the Wrangler like on-road? Well, I honestly can't tell you because I haven't had a chance to try it. But Bertie was here a couple of months ago. He drove this car in Texas and he told us that it's not as difficult as you think it would be to drive on road given how good it is off-road. It's actually a reasonably good car to drive on road, but we'll just have to take Bertie's word for it because honestly, these wheels today have not seen a single piece of tarmac.
So you just seen the Jeep Wrangler on the Rubicon Trail, and Shumi's gone absolutely gaga over that experience. But to get you down to ground level, we're here to speak to Nagesh Basavanahalli, who's the MD, Fiat Chrysler. Let me get straight to the point. The Jeep Wrangler, what are the plans for Jeep in India with that product?
Jeep, as you know, is a legend. Jeep Wrangler is a legend. If you look at the fundamental core values of what the Jeep stands for, the freedom, authenticity, adventure and passion, the Wrangler represents each one of those. So to us, it's a great, exciting product that's known worldwide. It's a true legend, and yes, it will be coming to India in the very near future.
Where exactly, and how will you position the Wrangler when it comes down to the Indian market? What are the plans behind that in a sense? Is it going to be a CBU? Are you going to assemble it down here in India at your plant in Ranjangaon? What exactly? Can you share some details on that?
We're going to start with the CBU. Our customers want the product sooner, so we'll bring it as a CBU option initially.
And where do you think you'll position it in terms of against competition that's there in the market or in the price bracket? What is it that you're looking at? Where do you exactly see that Wrangler fitting in?
Those are the things that we are still working out. It's in our final stages of discussion. But at the end of the day, though, it is Jeep is a premium SUV. And it's a great product like we talked about, and I think it will be positioned appropriately.
The other car in the other SUV, rather I should say, in the family, the Jeep family, is the Grand Cherokee. What are your plans behind that? Where do you think we position that, and by when do you think we could see that product coming out in India? Also, are you looking at getting both those products done in the Indian market simultaneously, or will there be a gap between the two?
Grand Cherokee, as you rightfully said, is the ultimate on-road, off-road vehicle. It's the ultimate vehicle which is the refinement, luxury, craftsmanship. So to us, it is the most awarded SUV ever, and it's combined with technology, craftsmanship. So to us, we're very excited to have a product like that in our stable, and that's also one of the things that is slated to come to India at some point of time in the near future. So we will be talking more about that at the right time.
Could we have a few more specifics as to what is sometime in the future? Because those are your initial two products that you're going to spearhead your operations in India with. So will it be possible to get a little more specific detail?
Yeah, so the goal, like was announced in the past, we are sticking to the product strategy that was announced, which meant that we would start off with both the Grand Cherokee and the Wrangler.
Yeah, and how will you sort of differentiate? So far you've been riding on the wave saying that Fiat's association with Chrysler and with Jeep coming down to India. But where do you differentiate Jeep as a standalone brand by itself? Will there be sort of that separation between the two brands, and will you go your own, chart your own individual path in the Indian market, or will there be a fairly close-knit association with Fiat when you come out with your products?
Obviously, Jeep is part of the Fiat Chrysler family. Fiat Chrysler, as you know, is the 7th largest automaker in the world, and Clearly, when it comes to our Jeep customer itself, which is your question, we will have exclusive network for the Jeep, which represents the look and the feel and the aspirations of a Jeep customer. So we clearly will have Fiat exclusive showrooms, we'll have Jeep exclusive showrooms, and I think they clearly will cater to the two customer and their aspirations.
So what's sure is that we're not going to be seeing a Fiat Tata Alliance kind of outfit that is there in the past.
Well, stay tuned.
It's interesting to note that despite the severe slowdown in the Indian auto car market, brands are launching new products. Fiat will be the latest to launch the Grand Cherokee and the Wrangler towards the end of the year. On that note, it is time for us to head into a break. When we return, we answer your queries on Auto Selector and we wrap up all the news from the world of auto.